As I remembered, I forgot to do that. Anyways, my name's Kim. I'm the operations manager at the MRFA, and Isabel, who will be joining me, just stepped away to answer a phone call quickly. Um, First, I would like to let everybody know that we are doing, we have some Jets tickets to give away. So everybody who's in attendance will write their name on a piece of paper and we'll put it in our hat. And at the end of the webinar, we'll pull that. So if you are the winner, you'll just have to wait for a few seconds after so we can gather your email. It is for the December 8th game at 2 p.m. against Buffalo, I believe. We will have a Q&A period, so please keep any questions until then. If you have a question, you can write it in the chat and I will make note to make sure we take that down. Our webinar is being recorded today and we are going to post it on our website and social media, and I'll put it out in our newsletter as well. Today we have Chris and Shaker from BFL and Chris from Quikcard. So I am going to pass it over to you guys.
Perfect. Thank you, Kim. Well, thank you for the introduction. And as Kim said, yes, at the end of the webinar, we are doing 2 Jets tickets. The time is actually 5 o'clock, so I got that wrong, not 2. It's 5 o'clock on December the 8th, as well as we're doing $100 spending for the game itself as well for the lucky recipient there. So let's get into it here. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on our lovely weather that we had a nice dump in of snow this morning as we all woke up to a couple centimeters of snow on the ground there. But thank you for joining us for the webinar here today, presented and hosted by BFL and Quikcard. We're thrilled to have everyone listening live, as well as those who will be recording and playing us back. Welcome, and look forward to our discussion and our session here. In addition to the webinar, BFL is a partner with the MRFA, both on the silver communication, as well as earlier this year, we had sponsored the the longest drive competition. And recently, last week, we were the sponsor for the AGM over at the gates. And again, a big thank you to Ray and his team for hosting that event. So let's get into the agenda here on what we're going to be discussing over the next 40 minutes. We've allocated about 40 minutes to run through the presentation and then left about 10 minutes or so for Q&A, and then about 5 minutes for Kim to announce the winner of the Jets tickets there. So for today's agenda, we'll be starting off by just giving a brief overview about BFL Canada, who we are as an organization, and then we'll lead into commercial business insurance that I'll be running through that section on tailored coverage for the restaurant industry and why choose BFL. And then I'll be passing that over to Shaker, my colleague, who will then introduce the BFL benefits portion, as well as the BFL group and retirement savings plans options that we have at BFL here. And then to our guest of honor, keynote speaker here, I guess we can call him, all the way from Edmonton, Chris Vinisad from Quikcard, will be going through the MRFA BFL benefits healthcare spending account and some of the benefits that restaurant owners as well as affiliate members can look to join on here and get a no obligation quote. And then again, stay tuned for the end. For everybody listening live, Kim is going to present and select a winner for the 2 Jets tickets for December 8th. So an introduction about myself. My name is Chris DeFira. I'm one of the executives over at BFL Canada. I've been in the insurance industry now for 12 years, specializing in hospitality for the last decade. I've been with BFL for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years this summer. And during that time, I've worked with restaurants not only in Manitoba, but across the country. I hold an insurance license across all provinces and territories, as well as our team at BFL is able to assist with cross-border and international operations as well. And during that time, I've worked with a number of independent and franchise restaurant properties, helping them navigate through the pandemic, as well as their coverages that they need to be operating and ensuring that if they do have an incident, that they are well taken care of. So some information about BFL Canada. BFL Canada was founded in 1987 by Barry F. Lorenzetti. And over the last 35 years, BFL has grown to be one of the largest employee-owned and operated insurance brokerage and employment benefits consulting firms in Canada. We have over 1,400 employees coast to coast that are situated in 27 offices across the country. We place a little over 2.7 billion in insurance premium domestically in Canada, and we have a 98% retention among our clients once they join. They're usually clients for life. As mentioned, we operate in 140 countries, so we are able to work on anything cross-border that you have. We're not bound to just Manitoba, so if you have a restaurant or a portfolio that takes you outside of the Manitoba borders, you can work with our BFL team here in Winnipeg that can assist you coast to coast. So BFL, we have our fourfold advantage that really separates us and stands us different than our competitors. First and foremost is we are a 100% Canadian-owned company from Montreal. Majority of the larger international carriers are all either based in the US or based in London. We're, out of the top 5 carriers in Canada, the only one that's based solely here in Canada in terms of a head office structure. Again, our firm is completely independent, and what that benefit is that we don't have an obligation to an insurance company, a shareholder, or a private equities firm. We basically have the ability to our clients. So with the markets that we work with and the markets that we place, we can control. If you are not happy with one market, we can work fluidly with another market. Our interests are solely for our clients to ensure that they are placed with the best carrier for their operation. And again, our business model that we have, we are employee-owned and employee-owned shares. So now to jump into commercial and business insurance. So what is commercial insurance? Simply put, commercial insurance is a type of insurance designed specifically to protect your business, your operations, and your assets from financial losses caused by unforeseeable events. It helps business and restaurant managers mitigate and ensure continuity in the face of accidents, lawsuits, and liabilities. So unforeseeable events could be anything from frozen pipes to water to fire to slip and fall. Your commercial business insurance would be the policy that you would have that would be responding in that facet if you were to incur an unforeseeable event. So BFL caters to a wide range of both local, national, and international clients of all sizes and all industry segments. So I look after and I head up our hospitality division here. That being said, we work on everything from agriculture to engineers to construction to equine to financial institutions, municipalities, sports and leisure, transportation, property and real estate. Pretty much every segment of your business, regardless of what the business would be, BFL has an option in all of that. Now more specifically to the restaurant and the hospitality. So the type of restaurants that we work with primarily can be either your casual, upscale dining restaurants, your fast food franchises, your lounges, taverns, bars, pubs, primary liquor establishments that are 100% liquor, which we do a couple of them here in Manitoba, and then your brewery and your microbrewery establishments, which have a bit of a restaurant component in the restaurant serving side, as well as the manufacturing component with the production of the product and of the beer. Of course, we also work in the hotel and resort space as well. Available coverages that we offer our restaurant clients would be anything from property and your liability to your business interruption, to your extra expense, to your host liquor liability, which we can do 2, 5, 10, up to 20 million liquor house liability. Employment practice liability, which I'll get into a little bit later. This is becoming the topic of conversation with majority of restaurant owners. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the presentation. Cyber liability, food contamination, legal expense coverage, abuse and molestation coverage. And for those that have either high liquor or have exposure there with security, we do offer forcible ejection liability. So if anybody is removed from the premise and comes back and puts a litigation against the restaurant, we actually have coverage that would protect the owners for that type of loss. So again, some specific coverages with our tailored program that we have here at BFL. Business interruption is one of the key coverages that post-pandemic has been a real concern for a lot of the business owners, where their revenues have increased, but yet the business interruption is still where it was in the past. During the pandemic, when it was lowered, this is vital for restaurants, as restaurants depend heavily on continuous operation from a specific location for in-person dining, online orders, whether it be services, banquets, etc. This would ensure financial protection if the restaurant were to ever have an interruption coverage. Sexual misconduct liability. This is one that's becoming a little bit more relevant within the industry. It's also tailored and partnered with employment practice liability. Basically, what employment practice liability covers and what it protects is for the diverse working force. So if you have a restaurant, you have multiple employees, they could have different races, they could have different backgrounds culturally, there's the different genders, etc. If the restaurant is put in a position where there's a human rights tribunal or there is an allegation of misconduct between employee to employee or employee to employer, this is where employment practice comes in. It's a liability protection that ensures that if the business suffers any legal expenses or settlements or judgments related to discrimination brought by the employee, then that is where this policy would provide coverage. Under traditional policies, this is actually an exclusion on majority of contracts, unless you have a standalone package for this. So we are working with restaurants across the country to see about developing a program just for employment practice liability, and ensure that almost all of our restaurants will at least have this opportunity to get an option for this liability coverage. So why choose BFL? BFL offers tailored solutions for the hospitality sector. We have expert risk advisory services. We go that extra mile. We don't provide just one solution fits all as we had done with the benefits. We tailor everything specifically to your needs and your requirements. We do an in-depth review of coverage of your portfolio, of your operations, and ensure that you have the appropriate coverage that is not too much, but not too little for your exposure. We also are committed to innovation. So we're always on the cutting edge of changing. If something can be done better or streamlined, or there's a new coverage, we're always working with our clients and meet with them on a quarterly basis to ensure that any new product in the industry or any new coverage that comes out, we're having those conversations with restaurants to ensure that their portfolio is up to date with some of the new solutions that are coming out within the industry and what we're seeing nationwide as well. Again, part of the main difference that kind of stands us separately from some of our competitors is our 24-hour emergency claim service. Our claim settlement, instead of you being given a 1-800 number, we have a claims team of 82 people across Canada that are employed by BFL that are there for you and are going to advocate for you in the time when you're probably going through your worst possible nightmare of having a fire or water. We're there to support and help and ensure that the insurance company is going to be offering you a fair and effective solution for what you are or covered for. We don't work for the insurance company. Our claims team works for you, and they're employed by BFL. Again, that is one of our differentiators, is that we have an in-house claims team that will advocate on your behalf and ensure that you are getting the settlement that you are required for your policy. So I'm going to pass it over to Shaker here now to jump into the benefits program and the launch of this MRFA BFL benefits program, and Shaker will take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everyone had a good drive. I know the morning started off with snow, but on my drive here this afternoon, it seemed to clear up, just a little bit of wind. So not too bad. I'll take it all day, every day. So my name is Shaker Chauhan. I am the Senior Benefits Consultant with BFL Canada. I've been in the insurance industry for close to 16 years. I've been in the different fields of insurance. However, my preference has always been in the employee benefits side. Now I specialize in designing and implementing employee programs for employers of various size and within all industries across Western Canada. Our services: personalized benefit consulting. Clients use their employee benefits program as a key resource tool to achieve their needs and business objectives. Essentially, I look at the industry and the company within that industry and tailor it based on their needs, their time, whether they're fairly new or they've had benefits currently for an X amount of years. I see what might be lacking, what might not, and I look for new, innovative, and progressive ways to alter their benefits package where I see fit. Now, by choosing BFL Canada as your partner, you obtain access to the broad spectrum of benefits consulting services, including just brief overviews of group insurance. A group insurance plan provides employees with access to coverage like health, dental, life, and disability insurance. The employer pays part or all the premiums at times, depending, making it affordable for benefits for employees. Group retirement savings plans. A group retirement savings plan is a workplace savings program, such as group RSP or pension, where employees and employers can contribute to help employees save for their retirement. Contributions are often tax advantaged and deducted directly from paychecks. It's not too bad. Also, the executive compensation plans. An executive compensation plan is a tailored program designed to attract, retain, and reward senior executives. It typically includes a mix of salary, bonuses, stock options, deferred compensation, and other benefits. These plans are structured to align the executive's performance with the company's long-term goals and shareholder interests. And last but not least, individual insurance plans. Now, these are policies purchased directly by a person to meet their specific coverage needs. These can include life, health, disability, or critical illness insurance. Unlike group plans, the individual pays the full premium, and the coverage is personalized based on their health, lifestyle, and financial goals. Now, our one goal here at BFL Canada is becoming a trusted partner that always protects your best interests. And in saying so, I'd like to introduce Chris Biddison at Quikcard.
Hey, thanks, Shaker, and thanks, Chris, for the BFL overview. Really appreciate it. If you guys want to stop sharing, I'll just go ahead and share my screen.
Yep.
Seconds here, it's loading up. You guys see that okay? Yeah, perfect. Okay, so thanks again, Kim and the MRFA, for having us. We really appreciate it. And we're going to talk a little bit today about just the power of health and wellness spending accounts. Just want to give you a little bit of quick background on who Quikcard is, kind of where we come from, and where we're going. So we've been around since 1989. We've proudly challenged the status quo here of how we can make health and wellness more accessible and more affordable for all Canadian businesses. Initially, we were focused only on dental coverage. We've evolved to now include coverage in areas of health, vision, and drug. Again, our solutions can be, they're super comprehensive, but we can tailor them to the group's needs. So to the, associate members, to the restaurants, we have some examples. I just want to make a quick note in the top corner here. On every page, you're going to see the scan me for a no obligation quote. At any time during the presentation, and I believe Kim has shared this as well, that you can scan it. We've developed some plans tailored to the MRFA. We'll go through that plan in detail at the end, but if you wanted to do it while you are watching this webinar, feel free to go ahead and scan that. But just a bit about myself. I'm the VP of Business Development for Quikcard. So I recently joined them in January of this year. They were a client of mine for several years beforehand. I helped them digitally transform and kind of go the direction where we're going today to provide and be a leader in the health and wellness spending account. I got a bunch of sales leadership previous roles before that. And I also teach part-time at the university, but I'm very well-being focused. I'm trying to do something different to actually help, what matters most, or your most valuable asset is, the human portion of it, right? Your employees. So what does a health and wellness spending account actually do for you? As an employer, a restaurant or any associate members, we can help the workforce to manage their healthcare costs more efficiently while achieving some substantial savings. Just a bit more of an example of it brings further value to the organizations that the MRFA is supporting. We're bringing them a nice benefits package that's been tailored to the hospitality industry. Again, we can tweak this if you're not full hospitality, but it's going to really help the business to manage costs and really leverage those savings so they're able to reinvest it into their most important part, which is their employees. I'm going to give you just a quick example of kind of what I'm showcasing here. So if you look at the thought of everybody always wanting $1 an hour raise, right? So I want to compare and have you in the mindset of $1 an hour raise is going to cost you as a business roughly $2,080 for a full-time employee per year. If you were to give them just a $2,000 health spending account, for the business side of it, it's a business tax deductible expense for the company. It's a non-taxable benefit for the employee. So if you were to give them that raise, if they're in a 30% tax bracket, out of that $2,080, they're only going to see about $1,400. If you gave them the $2,000 health spending account, again, now enabling benefits for something if you don't have benefits at all, the employee is going to pay $0 in tax. The business is going to pay $0 tax on those health spending account dollars, and the employee gets that full $2,000 to spend on health-related expenses. You're going to help with attracting and retaining your top employees. And again, just overall, there's less tax, so there's a lot more options for everyone. So what is an actual health spending account? So again, it's a way that we can provide a tax-efficient, cost-effective alternative or supplemental to traditional health benefits. So if you have a standard, insurance plan in place right now, we're not looking to replace that. We can complement that. If you have no benefits program in place, this is a good option based on, the size of your business. Most restaurants being in around that 25 employee size can't always get, those competitive rates. So from the business perspective, health spending accounts, any company contributions are 100% tax deductible. So those are pre-earned tax dollars. You get to have that as a tax deductible expense. Employees reimbursement, so the benefit that you're giving to the employee, they're 100% tax free. So they're not going to pay any income tax on that, in that example I gave of $2,000. Any of the funds that goes unused, so from an employee perspective, you can set this up to use it or lose it in a year. You can set it up to carry forward to 2 years. But from the employer side of it, they always get any unused funds back. So it's pretty nice perk when you give a benefit. If the benefit goes unused, you can have that back to fund next year's program or to spend somewhere else within your business. So again, it gives the employees the true flexibility to spend the dollars on what matters most to them. Everyone's, in different situations, different stages in their life where they maybe want to have the expenses for. You'll see some greater benefit utilization on the actual dollars that they do spend. Employees will be overall, a little bit more satisfied. And obviously, you're going to help with attracting and retaining those employees. Some quick examples of what a health spending account can cover. So again, business tax deductible expense for the employer, non-taxable benefit for the employee. All of these categories that are the main categories being dental, vision, health, and drug. These are all regulated by the CRA. We don't choose which ones are able to be covered or not. But some examples you can see from acupuncture to chiropractor to dental to prescription drugs, massage is covered on here as well, occupational therapy, any kind of registered, eligible health related expense is covered. I wanted to highlight the personal health insurance premiums. So Shaker had alluded to individual personal health insurance. You could use those to be an eligible HSA expense as well if they wanted to go the insurance route. So shifting gears from the health spending account, we're going to talk about what's called a wellness spending account. This is more of where you want to give a perk to your employees. You want to be that different employer that you don't want the people walking across the street to look for a new job. I can tell you more about my wellness spending account of $500 and what I spend it on each year versus any raise I've ever gotten. The wellness spending account is still a business tax deductible expense for the employer, but it is a taxable benefit for the employee. So what that basically means is if you're giving them that $500 and they use that $500 at the end of the year, you can log into our portal, you can generate a report, you can generate to see how much they use, and then you report that on their T4 for income tax reporting purposes. From the employee experience, though, now we're getting some money given to us that's, not our hourly wage. It's a true kind of perk that's being tailored to whatever wellness area you would like to promote within your organization. The program is funded and runs the exact same as the health spending account, but it covers a lot of different categories. All of these categories can be left wide open, or we can look at tailoring them specifically to your one need. Maybe you wanted to promote, overall fitness and you wanted to get everyone, you'd love to put in a gym, but you don't have the real estate, maybe in the restaurant, you don't have the capital to build a gym or add on. Well, you could give them a $500 wellness spending account. You could have it under, fitness related services and only fitness related services. And basically they could have that $500 to spend, say, on a gym membership, if that was something you wanted to promote. Again, any of these options can be chosen. You can tailor them to however whatever you're looking to basically promote within your organization. So there's the health spending accounts, there's the non-taxable benefits, and there's the wellness ones that are the benefits. Just wanted to run through an example of how a kind of typical plan would look like. Again, these are fully flexible, adaptable to your business needs and to your employee needs. So 3 examples of how a business would maybe look at allocating $3,000 benefit dollars that they're giving to their employees. And they've decided to give $2,500 in the health spending account and $500 in the wellness spending account. So again, the $2,500, no tax on that one. The $500 would be a taxable benefit for the employee. If we look at option 1 in this example, so this is kind of what health spending accounts are all about, true flexibility. The categories of dental, vision, health, drug, and wellness all would be payable at 100%, meaning the employee would not incur any charges. As long as it was within that $3,000 benefit limit, the expense would be approved. They'd submit their expense, we review it. As long as it's a CRA eligible expense, we would then reimburse the employee. Option number 2, and we'll kind of you'll understand this a bit more when we go through your plan in detail, but option number 2 is a custom. So we're looking at covering, say, 100% in dental charges up to a maximum of $1,500. Maybe for vision, we'd like them to pay 25% of that expense. So we put a 75% copay on there. Same with health. Maybe you want to get 80% for any of those massages, they got to put in 20%, and drug you can see at 90%. So they'd be on the hook for 10%. And the wellness categories, rather than having it wide open, they're limiting it to the example I gave before, the fitness memberships only. And lastly, maybe you want to get into a little bit more complex kind of plan. You want to design it to more of how a traditional insurance plan was. Maybe you'd cover 90% of dental claims, but only 50% of ortho. Or maybe you want to give a vision expense account, but you only want them to have that $200 every 2 years. What I just want to highlight here is the true flexibility. Anything that you see on the screen here, we can customize and tailor to you and your employees' needs. So how does this actually compare when we talk about a health spending account versus traditional health insurance? So I just want to highlight, I'm not talking about life insurance, accidental death, or disability. All of those insurance options are available through BFL Canada. I highly recommend you should have some of these in place for sure. They're the experts on that. We are not an insurance product. We're an alternative to either complement or to have in place if you don't have anything. So if we look at, the traditional health insurance side of things, They have set plans. You're going to get X amount for a certain practice, a certain type of treatment that you're going to go to. Usually you incur some rising premiums. It's a little bit more of a complex policy. There could be those annual deductibles, or there may be, mandatory coverage areas that they have to have in order to qualify for it. If we do the flip side and look at what a health spending account does, so again, covering areas of dental, vision, health, and drug, it's full flexibility and cost control. So you as the employer get to choose the amount, the co-pays, anything you want like that. We don't have any premiums. There's no renewal increases or transaction fees. The only time this is ever going to go up is if you decide to increase the health spending account. Simple, transparent claims, wider range of claimable benefits, and there's no deductibles. If we were to just compare this to an old school traditional health insurance portion claim, the cost of a paid claim, usually for every dollar, 34% of that is going to cover the insurance plan. For us, we have a cost of a paid claim is a 12% admin fee. The annual rate increases, the admin cost, the trend cost, that's kind of how insurance covers and fluctuates. And think of your car insurance. If you have car insurance and you have a car accident, usually your insurance that goes up. Insurance from the health side of it kind of works the same way. When we talk about the cost of a paid claim for the health spending account, we only charge an admin fee of 12%. So we're about a third of the overall cost for every dollar of paid claims. And again, that admin fee is only ever charged if a claim is submitted. If there's no claims process, if there's nothing submitted, just like I talked about before, you would get that money back at the end of the year, and there is no cost, setup costs, startup costs, add employees, remove employees, none of that when it comes to a health spending account. Just want to highlight that there are two different types of health spending accounts. A primary health spending account versus a supplemental. So primary is the case when they usually have no coverage in place. So we're looking to go ahead and put all claims for health, dental, vision, and drug would go through the health spending account. And individuals that want to get that extra coverage as an individual level, they can use their HSA dollars for their personal health insurance premiums. The supplemental health spending account, now this is the top-up account. This is one that we see common, a little bit larger organizations that have traditional insurance. This is a great complement to give your employees a supplemental top-up to cover those dental, vision, health, and drug claims if you'd like. You pick the amount and they can kind of use that to maybe pay the difference of the copays that the insurance plan is leaving, or they can use it to just cover the additional costs that they have in certain practices that they go for treatment. And I just want to give you a quick example. This is a real life example of my father-in-law's business. So he had a very traditional health insurance plan, and I proposed to a Quikcard health spending account instead. So if we look at his organization, again, similar size to what restaurants are, 25 employees, who's paying about $39,000 a year in annual premiums. When he actually looked at the usage for his 25 employees, he'd see about $14,000 in dental claims and about just shy of $5,000 in health, vision, and drug claims. So overall, that almost $40,000 plan, he was leaving about $20,000 left with the health insurance company. If we were to flip over to a Quikcard health spending account and we were to allocate the same money that he's already spending for his traditional health insurance plan, that $39,000 in annual funding, have the same $14,000 in dental claims, have the same $5,000 health, vision, and drug claims, he'd be looking at, after our 12% admin fee, getting it back about $18,062 that he could potentially take as a full refund anytime he wants, or carry it forward to fund the next year's program. So again, 34% of that cost of the paid claim that I alluded to earlier, we're only that 12%. Again, no rate increases with us. The only time you're ever going to see an increase in your annual amounts or your monthly payments would be if you wanted to increase the actual health spending account size for your employees. Just a couple things about utilization and maximum exposure. My father-in-law's example, if he has the same year, he's going to look like he's going to get a good chunk of change back this year. On average, for most of our clients, we don't see 100% maximum exposure always being reached. And the reason is just not everybody uses the full benefits, right? If there is no benefits program in place, it's going to definitely result in a higher utilization. It's usually only for the first year though. So in year 2 and 3, those kind of percentages that were closer to 100% will start to decrease. I actually have a few clients, even good friends of mine that are increasing their health spending account dollars because they had an employee that left to go across the street to get better benefits. So based on this, 100% utilization, we're probably only going to see like 75% utilization. they're willing to increase their health spending accounts by a significant amount of dollars to make sure that they're known as the best person with the best benefits package, so that there's no chance that their employees leave, and they're going to attract and retain that top talent. They know, based on the 100% maximum just not being reached. Sure, it will be reached, with a couple employees, but it's definitely not going to be for everyone. As a plan administrator, so from the employer side of it, you're going to get access to, some great tools that kind of help provide you with some insight to see kind of maybe what you're providing or what's being used, what's not being used, and kind of help you to better manage your employees and get them the actual dollars in the areas that they need. So a few different tools that we have from the plan administrator type portal. You can see that the dollars are being spent in dental, vision, health, or drug. Again, you cannot see who's using what or what they're spending it on. It's just in the general categories, obviously, for privacy. You can see how much your company has actually spent for the year, how much the claims has been, how much was paid in taxes, what the closing balances are. And then your actual employees, once they're signed up, will have a nice little app on their phone that they can log in anytime, choose their information. They can see how much they've used, when their benefit year starts. They can submit claims via the mobile app, and they can use our virtual card for direct billing for all dental and drug claims. So it gives you a lot more information, to try and help tailor and make sure you're allocating enough dollars to what matters to your employees. Now, with health spending accounts, I never say they should kind of stand alone. Health spending accounts are great. You allocate X amount of dollars, but we really want to try and stretch those dollars. A visit to a psychologist is, not cheap. It's definitely usually, hundreds of dollars, and you could go through a health spending account fairly quickly. So we do offer a few add-ons to complement the health spending accounts, health and wellness spending accounts. The first one being an employee assistance program. So this employee assistance program is done through a company called Key, who was formerly CloudMD, who was formerly HumaniCare. But for $7 a month per employee, you can cover the employee and any of their family members living at the same address. Basically, it's a 24-hour intake number. They can pick up the phone, call in, say, hey, I'm going through a midlife crisis, we'll use as an example. They will assess you X amount of sessions per incident. There's an unlimited amount of incidents, but you get assigned X amount of sessions per incident. Those sessions can then be done over the phone, in person, or online. Again, $7 a month, very low cost, high value for the kind of mental well-being of your employees. If we were to shift over to the virtual healthcare, I know in Alberta, it's quite a challenge to get a family doctor or see a doctor. We partnered with TELUS Health for their virtual healthcare. This is $7 a month as well. It covers the individual as well as their family living at the same address. Again, same type of idea, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you can do a FaceTime call, you can do a virtual healthcare call. You start with a nurse practitioner. I'll give you a quick example of what I did during the pandemic. My dog and I had a little bit of a tussle. He scratched my eye. I got quite a bad infection. I wasn't keen on going to a Medi Center to see a doctor to see my eye. I jumped on my virtual healthcare. I started texting with a nurse practitioner. She referred me over to a doctor, did a FaceTime call, took some pictures of my eye. Doctor was able to assess me with some antibiotics and phone it into my local pharmacy. I drove over there, used my health spending account to pay for it, and I was back in the game in a few days later, and I didn't have to actually go into a clinic during, a very scary time for us. And the last one that we offer, and this again just is a complement of our drug card, but we do have a group travel insurance policy. So if your employees are traveling for work, maybe you have restaurants across the country or the province, any of the group medical travel claims, any issues that you may have, that would be covered under this program. It's $469 per month per single employees and $1099 per month for family employees. So again, it just really helps to stretch those HSA and WSA dollars. Now, what does this actually do for you? What does it create, right? So you get to create, your desired culture. You're going to be a happier employer, and you're going to even have happier and healthier employees. So you get to control and manage those healthcare costs based on knowing what the costs are going to be year over year. It's only going to go up if you decide to increase it. You're going to give your employees more choice, more freedom, more flexibility. They get to decide where they want to spend those dollars if you leave it wide open, or if you limit it to certain categories. At least they're still getting the opportunity to choose to spend it on what matters most to them. So on average, for all of our employee blocks, we see a maximum of 75% of their annual allocations. So that means on average, everyone that has a healthcare spending account is looking at a 25% surplus that they either use to fund the next year's program, or they can return it and use it on a different employee benefit. Now, a little bit of information just on who we are to give you some confidence behind our product. So we do about $50 million in paid claims annually. We have over 35,000 cardholders. We work with over 3,200 companies, and we have about 150 plus broker partners, just like BFL. So the main reasons, though, why people partner with us and become part of the Quikcard family is, we're real people. We're really here to help, and we're real quick. We're a small business still. We're locally, independently owned and operated. We're able to support businesses of all sizes. So again, there was a question before about associate members. Your group can be one, your group can be up to thousands plus. We can handle them all. Our processes are very streamlined and also very flexible. We can customize those plans, as I mentioned before, to tailor them to what your exact needs are, what area you want to promote. For our health spending account, we're the only provider that offers a direct billing option. So any direct billing for all drug claims and dental claims at over 62,000 providers, you can show our virtual card. There's no need for someone to even take a picture, manually submit a claim to be paid on. Our claims are paid in days, not weeks. There's a lot of other HSA providers out there that maybe do a payment run once every couple of weeks or once a month, or you got to submit it and pay them and pay back. We're not like that at all. You submit a claim with us today, we will typically pay it back tomorrow. On paper, we say 72 hours, but it's usually submit today, you get paid back tomorrow. We also pride ourselves on, still being human, right? If you call us, we will answer the phone. It's 45 seconds. It's not going to be 45 minutes with us. So if you have a question about your plan design, you want to talk to someone to change something, or you have an employee that's calling in to say, will this be covered? They can call us anytime and we'll answer the phone and give them the guidance that they need. And the last point, which is a stickler, but a very important one, our in-depth adjudication process. So how we are managing these claims, like you might be thinking as an employee, I have all these people working for me. How am I going to know what they're spending it on if I don't get to see it? How are they going to submit all of this? How do we regulate, maintain, ensure that these are actually being spent properly on eligible expenses? We have a team that does that. We do in-depth adjudication every time a claim comes in. We make sure that it's approved by the CRA and eligible as an expense. We make sure it's within the limits and the plan design that you have set for your employees. If it's not, we would deny the claim. We want to make it as smooth and streamlined as possible. So when it does come time to tax season, if you are ever audited, we are 100% confident in we're only approving the claims that are actually eligible expenses. So that's a little bit about us. I've talked to you about the health spending accounts, the wellness spending accounts, what's the business tax deductible expense and what's not. Again, we're fully flexible and customizable to your member requirements. We worked with Kim and Sean and Isabel and Shaker and the team just to go through and design a plan that's specific to the hospitality sector. So again, for any associate members, we can change this, but that QR code, if you scan that QR code, it's going to take you to a nice page that's going to basically show you this plan design. So we went and looked at, usually restaurants have a general manager, they have some type of managers, shift leaders, there's back of house, and there's front of house. So what we're looking at doing is providing X amount of dollar amounts for each one of these divisions, we call it. So if we look at the general manager, we've allocated in this example of the non-taxable benefit for the employee, $2,000, but because they're general manager, we want to make sure we're taking care of them and they're not leaving our restaurant. We've allocated $500 as a wellness spending account. Copay, so it's 100%. We're going to submit and review those claims as long as it's within the HSA amount. They're not on the hook for anything. So overall, to give that employee a benefit of $2,500, it's going to cost you, with admin fees, taxes, and everything else, $2,815. Now, we went through the head count of 25 employees. I'm not going to go through each one of these examples, but you can see one general manager, we got 2 managers, we got 4 shift leaders, we got 8 back of house, and we got 10 front of house. We got different copays for different groups, a little bit more of personally having a bit of an expense sometimes isn't a bad thing when you look at having health spending accounts, to make sure they're spending it on what actually, matters most to them. But overall, out of those 25 employees, 100% max exposure I talked about, usually not achieved unless it's, the first year benefits that they're having, but that would be about a $29,000 cost to the business. If it's 75% exposure, it'd be $21,000. Most importantly, though, I want you to look at the estimated annual cost per employee. So for 25 employees, is it worth it to you to spend $800 on each one on average to make sure you don't have to rehire, you don't have to train someone, you're being a forward-thinking, innovative restaurant that's giving a great benefits package because you actually care about the employee and their family members. Again, very low cost overall when you look at it from a whole business side of it. Again, the health spending account, if you didn't want to do any of the wellness, we can tailor it just to health spending account. If you wanted to do lower numbers, we can do lower numbers. If you wanted to do higher numbers, we can do higher numbers. Again, we are able to support businesses of all sizes. Again, this is also available to associate members. And to start the process, simply scan the QR code, get a no obligation quote. And again, we can definitely tailor it or jump on a call after to review that proposal together with Shaker and the BFL team as well. And that is all I have, Kim. So I think I'll toss it back to you and you can see if there's any questions online before we go ahead and do the draw. And I want to thank you for having both us and BFL today.
Awesome. Thank you
Yeah,
guys
thank
so
you, Kim,
much.
for
Thank you.
yeah, thank you to the Restaurant Association for allowing us to be a part of this afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah, does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask any of these guys?
The question in the chat.
Jamie says very informative. Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah, and again, for anyone else that is watching this on demand later, the contact info is up on the screen, the QR code's there. Again, you can reach out to us with any questions, give us a call. Like I said, we're here to answer. So if there's anything we can do, I mean, this will definitely help the hospitality industry when we look at the benefit side of it for sure.
Awesome. If there's no questions, then I think we will let Natasha, I mean, not
Isabel.
Natasha, Isabel.
Oh, I was gonna say, it looks like they got a 1 in 3 chance. So it's really good. 32%.
It's a pretty good chance right now.
Yeah, we'll let Isabel pull the name out of our hat.
All right. So who's excited to win 2 Jets tickets?
Your name's Chris, you got a good chance.
So once you know your name, whoever that is, kindly type your full name and email address in the chat section so we can send you the tickets, right? Otherwise, we're just gonna give it away. All right. So I got here Lovely. Is Lovely in here?
You said Levine?
Lovely.
Or Levine?
Oh,
Perfect.
there he is.
Yeah.
There they are.
There we go.
Sorry, audio
Perfect.
error.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Be your +1. I'm
Kindly
looking
type your name and email address here.
You're really against the odds there. And then for the Jets tickets, what I'll do is I will transfer them over to Levine there just from Ticketmaster. So with the email, I'll send that over.
And then,
Perfect. I see the Outlook email there right now.
And then for
the funds, we'll also transfer that over. I think, is it going to go to MRFA then to them, or?
yeah, I think we're gonna email Kim the funding and then she can send it to Lovely.
Perfect. So we'll get that over to you here this afternoon for the Jets tickets.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and thank you guys so much for putting on this webinar for us. As I said, it was recorded, so we will send out the recording and post it online after. So thank you guys.
That's good.
Awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys. Appreciate the time.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.